Now this is a little scooter goby or dragonette. Pretty easy to keep. Spectacular little fish, just cruises around the environment looking for amphipods and copepods to eat, which are little microorganisms. Best kept in a reef aquarium without too many other pluckers. Now a plucker is a little fish that does what he's doing now, which is plucking the environment, and he can see little microorganisms that it's very likely that we just can't see at all, and he feeds on them. So he needs to feed all the time because he's always feeding on these tiny little organisms. And be careful not putting too many together. If you get a pair at once and you've got a very large aquarium, that's okay. This one's probably a female because it doesn't have a big long whip on the dorsal, which would be a male. They're actually quite easy to keep, providing there's enough food in the aquarium to feed them, because they don't eat most introduced foods. They might eat a bit of brine shrimp, but in order to support them you need an aquarium with enough live rock and enough culture in the live rock, microorganisms for them to feed on. So in large aquariums they are quite easy to keep. Some of the more colourful varieties like the green and the psychedelic are very, very beautiful, and they are poisonous, so it's best that you don't eat them, just in case you were going to. But very interesting little species to watch. They're not bad for beginners as long as your tank's large enough. In a small tank, they're not really a good idea, because it's unlikely you're going to have the cultures of microorganisms in order to support it. This guy's doing very well. He's been in here for quite a while. Just sifting through my gravel all the time. Obviously this one's not as popular as some of the more colourful varieties that you can get, but they're a wonderful little fish, really worth looking at. If you want to tell if you've got amphipods and copepods in your environment, if you turn off all your lights and leave them off for a few hours and then get a torch, especially if it's a beam light torch, and shine it into the tank, especially with a magnifying glass, and then you will find if you've got these little organisms running around in the aquarium, and that's what these guys feed on. If you don't have those organisms in the aquarium, getting another piece of live rock and then feeding your fish a little bit more, and then they'll usually appear.